session, it is a pretty relaxed one, so we're going to have quite a lot of sort of talking and conversation around it, a bit of breakout groups again. We've got contributions coming from Robbie and Diane and from Paul as well, just around how they win their set for sale meetings. Debbie's going to run a session around that as well too, so just taking some key pieces out of those individuals' work and sharing those as well. But I thought we'd start off with a little bit of a sort of seeing what everybody thinks set for sale is. So it's an opportunity to tell me if we've got the right sort of thing in what we're framing up today. But to me personally, I'm sure it's the same to all of you, achieving a sale for our clients is always a balancing act between the time taken to achieve it and the price you achieve as a result of that. And I know we've all been through a lot of the training sessions that Marty's provides, and that is something that's always been brought up as well too, that you can achieve a sale, you can typically do it within a certain time frame, but not at a certain price, or the other way around as well too. So it's good to have that in the back of your mind whenever you're sitting with your clients and making sure that conversation's foremost in their minds as well too, around how quickly do they need to achieve a sale. So is it conditional on are they conditional on getting out of their own property to go somewhere else, or they want to go overseas, or do whatever, or are they simply hanging out to achieve a certain price for whatever personal reason it may well be. So, first question is, what is a set for sale meeting?
Preparing the customer for the process.
Yep. Okay, hang on. What are we doing? It's exactly the same point, isn't it, really? Trying to get them ready and understanding what the marketplace is like at the moment. We all know that quite often part of our role, well, we have three parts to our roles. It's having a property and attracting people to that property via our marketing campaigns. It's actually bringing the market sentiment to the vendors so they get an appreciation for what the value of their property is, and then it's negotiating between the two parties to bring a contract into being as well. So that's pretty straightforward, great point, well done. When do we do them and how do we do them? Anybody? Is that the beginning? Yep, absolutely.
Appraisal.
Require appraisal, absolutely. Anywhere else?
Between the listing being signed and going live, would that be the...
Yep, so that's kind of that appraisal process, appraisal through into actually going live, absolutely. That is one of the primary ones. Anywhere else that we do set for sale meetings?
Just before an auction?
Just before an auction, absolutely. So we should chuck a few of these up. So appraisal through to market, on market. So, pre-auction, so that's your reserve set, that type of conversation. Where else, folks?
After auction.
Yep, so post-campaign.
When it's starting to get a bit stale.
Okay.
When it's starting to get a bit stale.
Yep, so what do we call that something else as well?
Yeah, I think it.
Crisis meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crisis, yeah.
Yeah, it's just that we call that, don't you use that in front of us.
You might use it sometimes, right?
So we're particular styles, isn't it, I suppose, but yeah. One other place that I think that we're kind of missing, it's an obvious one. Each time you do a vendor report.
When they get an offer?
Yeah, I'll go down, definitely.
Weekly reports.
So you vendor reports. So whilst the vendor report itself is not really a meeting or set for sale meeting, the conversation you have with your vendor is so whether that's a discussion around your vendor report that you're having by the phone or you're sitting in front of them. It's a set for sale meeting. So I kind of, I wanted to make sure everybody had a good understanding of that. We typically, when we talk set for sale meetings, a lot of people sort of get into the habit of thinking it's right at the front end here, and then not a lot of people are having that. We hit that sort of happy glow zone where we've done a appraisal or a submission, and they go, we want to work with you, and we're like, hell yes. So we just plough straight into getting the marketing ready, and get ready to hit the market with the property. But what we probably haven't realised is that our appraisal was the first part of actually establishing where potential value is in the property. That is our view on it. And I think there's a couple of things to talk about around that as well too, that we're appraising property, we're not valuers, but we are subject matter experts when it comes to what the market sentiment is at the moment. We've got access to knowledge around what sales have achieved price-wise in their region for their particular type of house. And we've also got access to what's on the market now as well. So we're as well placed as anybody to give them a feel for what their value of their property is. And that's what CMA is at the end of the day. It's not a scientific calculation that will give them precisely what the value of their property is, hence why we put a range around it. It's more of an art form to getting that in there.
I never say it's what we feel.
Yep.
I actually, and I avoid it, and I actually talk about the statistics and
Yep.
that, and whilst it is retrospectively,
Yep.
it's really where the current market is giving an indication.
Yeah, that's
Because
right.
it's actually not me pulling my checkbook out to buy their property.
Absolutely, and that's a good point to get in there. So it certainly takes it away from being, I see the value of your property being this, and all of a sudden they're going, yeah, well, we don't, those type of equations. So make it just a part of the process and establishing it, but it's the first part of a set for sale process that you're going to work through with them, as opposed to just an appraisal that gets flipped into a listing so that we satisfy our requirements to the REA. So that's good. How's that sound in terms of shaping what today's about and thinking what a set for sale meeting might well be? Cool. All right.
I'm checking the register. School teacher. We've been very fortunate that Paul has kindly offered to share a case study model with you with regard to a campaign that he's run recently in Omaha. Paul does reporting, amongst other things, really, really well, and I think that he tweaks with regard to where the relationship is by the time you get to say auction day or just after. So, Paul, what's your current success rate at the moment with auctions? Like 90?
Yeah, 8 I suppose. So been successful.
So, report number 1, the first bulk of the report is 9 pages long. So, at the end of it, Paul reads, sorry, this is a bit like a War and Peace novel. There's always a lot to convey first up, especially with the viewing comments we have to report back on. So you very much pre-frame how everything's going to run. But if we back up the bus a little bit, the background of this particular property is that you appraised it between 3.1 and 3.4. It was a monolithic clad building with issues. So he would have expected buyers to discount it by about 25% to 30%, giving a range of 2.4 to 2.7. The owners had a registered valuation at 3.5, which had the phrasing in there on the basis that there are no weather type issues, which is crazy, but obviously the valuer felt that would save his skin somewhere along the way. So the reserve was based on the valuation when you got to auction day.
Yeah.
So that's what, about 3.5, and it eventually sold well for 3.15. So that was a really, really good result. But with regard to Paul's reporting, you don't do as much face-to-face as probably most agents.
No, most of our vendors are Auckland-based, so we spend half our time down there. So we tell them at the start that they're happy to get our reports by email, or we're happy to come and see them if they want. Generally, they're pretty happy just to get emails. And then if they happen to be in our area, of course, we'll sit down with them.
So best practice is face-to-face, but obviously when you work kind of remotely from your vendors, it's a matter of putting as much information as you can into your reports. I've got a copy of the final report to give to all of you, and I'll hand that out, because that report is a fantastic summary. It's got great words in there, it's got great body, and we've taken out obviously the content with regard to names, because it's probably quite confidential in lots of respects. So with the first report, Paul talks about what they're trying to achieve, talks about the partnership approach, and when you talk partnership, you talk about the team, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's important. We let them know that, well, it's a team effort from their side and our side, and in fact from the whole Bailey side, so that they know that, for instance, in our case, Victoria has been through the property and we're all trying to achieve the same goal, really, aren't we?
So you talk about the auctioneer, you talk about the management structure, just how everybody that can be called in to help is on the team.
Yeah. And we also put in that first report that we expect them to be at a meeting a week out from our auction down in the city when they meet Daniel and...
Quite a bit of detail about the reserve slip meeting requirements, so it gives the owner the understanding of what's required from them. Today, the marketing preparation, so that's identifying absolutely everything that you've done.
Yeah.
Inquiries today, open home viewings, planned activities for the next week, so that's covered as well, really well. And then in the summary, you touch on how you're going to quote the property. So, for instance, with this one, it reads, it's been a good start to the campaign so far, we're very happy with that. We look forward to the next 4 weekends of activity as the advertising takes effect. We had limited feedback on value so far, with only 2 or 3 parties forming an opinion at this stage. Others not willing to hazard a guess, but no one sees it above CV in lieu of the work they expect will be required. Our answer to anyone inquiring as to a price guide is along the lines of the CV is $3,050,000. Nothing really sells below CV in Omaha, and we would like to think it is north of that figure, but how far north we don't know. You explain that you don't want to overquote the property and scare off any buyers, and then bring a little, I guess there's 3 points here just with regard to the negatives, like touching on the 3 things that have come up so far.
I think it was important with that report, or all of them really, if your vendor's a little bit higher than what you want them to be, is to start telling them from day one the hard stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You know, and it's not our opinion, it's really the buyer's opinion, see that, not us. So.
I mean, you explain that sometimes buyers are watching from the sidelines and they don't come out of the woodwork until late in the campaign, which has been the case with a number of properties that you've sold in the past. In many instances, the buyers only viewed the property in the last 10 days of the campaign, and they were actually the best buyers. So it's sort of giving them some hope, but also giving them some reality at the same time.
So Paul, just a couple of questions then. Did you have the registered valuation up front in terms of...
We did, yeah. I asked the vendors to give me a copy of that.
Yeah. So
yeah.
how did those early conversations go? Because you got, I mean, correct me if I got these numbers wrong, you've got $3.5 million registered valuation provided at, say, a house. Your appraisal was 2.7?
Well, I said under normal circumstances.
2.4 to 2.7.
Yeah, before I'd seen the appropriate, before I'd seen the valuation, I said under normal circumstances 3.1 to 3.4. But I could see that it's one of those houses where the market's going to be pretty hard.
So did you show them a couple of different appraisal ranges then on that basis?
Yeah, I just said, look, the public's likely to discount it by 25 to 30%, and so on that basis it would be 2.4 to 2.7.
Yeah. Did you validate that with anything as well?
Just on our experience dealing with other houses like that, really.
Yeah.
Monolithic clad houses. So.
And was that an issue at all for your vendors?
For the vendors?
Yeah, in terms of you were talking about.
Well, they read it all, and then it was on the listing form, and they signed it all off. On the day they said the reserve's still up here, even though the constant feedback was down here.
Yeah.
So they can set the reserve whatever they want, but they didn't. They sold it here, which is what the market was prepared to pay on the day. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's an interesting set of circumstances around it, because clearly there's some numbers from yourself that, you know, the CV and the registered valuation that are considerably higher than raised it.
Yeah.
I wondered how they responded to that.
Yeah. I guess, you know, they took it all on board somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. At what stage did they?
I guess their answer to that was, to be honest, we wouldn't sell below CV, so from listing before, well, we wouldn't sell below CV, so even though they had a valuation at 3.5, they'd already told me they wouldn't sell below 3,050,000, I think the CV was, so that was some consolation.
Yeah. As a result of having a nice firm conversation up front, we actually established probably a bottom end to the level rather than just the top end.
Yeah. And the reason we put that thing about how we quoted is because it's a pretty tight market up there where we are, so buyers can often go back to the vendor who they know and say, oh, here you can buy your, or, you know, they're all talking the market, you can buy that for such and such. So if that gets back to the vendor, we'd rather put it in the report and tell them why we, you know, saying expected above this level.
Yep.
I
Rather than
mean,
them,
often
rather than them
though,
saying, why aren't you telling
vendors
people it'll be
have
3.5?
got friends coming through and stuff, haven't they?
Yeah.
So the best thing to be is just completely transparent about what you're saying. Did you discover that there was a problem with the extensions after you listed the property? Or did they know that?
No, after.
So this is,
something
Paul chases his sale and purchase agreement for auction from day one. So by report number 2, the auction documents have been approved by the solicitor with a clause inserted to cover no CCC on the extensions. You know, the sooner you put anything that's an issue on the table, the easier it is to actually deal with it, correct?
Yeah. So the owners had an extension, this is a beachfront property, and the owners had an extension done 20 years ago and didn't realise that it was not been signed off themselves.
So it was a nice surprise for them.
Yeah, so on top of the monolithic cladding, then there was an extension which had no CCC with it as well.
So the summary of report number 2 goes along the lines of how much you're actually doing and making sure that they're aware that you're doing everything possible. You're reasonably happy with how things are tracking to date. You talk about overall buyers are being cautious about what they're actually thinking and telling you, and it may be 2 different figures. You've also given them an update on what's on the market in Omaha at the moment, so local market knowledge, and talking about no other beachfront houses currently being marketed in Omaha, but there are 3 waterfront bare land properties that buyers may choose to look at instead. So reports 2, 3 follow those similar sort of themes. What was, your numbers look like they varied, so by about week 3 you're actually picking up a little bit. Is that just to tune in on what's happening?
Yeah, no, I think there was 50 odd groups through, which is what we would expect at the end.
Yeah. So report number 3 has a really extensive market update, so that must have been in timing with the stats coming out.
Yeah.
So you've actually documented.
Some sales and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you get to see Paul's book, he has got a book on Omaha that is a little black book that has every sale, and it's now, 10 years of property, all handwritten. So when he does a market update, he does calculations between sale price, CV, put notes beside it. He knows in his area every property that has been sold for that period of time. So if you were a vendor, you're going to have a very clear idea of what's been happening. You also, in the summary of week 3, talk about it's an interesting market at the moment and more properties are currently for sale than we've seen for a while. And just that it's going to be interesting to see what unfolds over the next 2 weeks. So it's almost like a conversation, isn't it, you're reporting? And whilst it's longer than most, when you send something like this, do they ring you and talk about your report?
No, but only if they've got some concerns they might. But I often get emails, thanks for the report, and then they might pick something up and have a query on it, so at least I know they've read it.
Yeah.
But I will ask them questions when we meet about such and such, or if they say something that was in the report, I'll say, I didn't read the report, it was in the report, such and such. So.
And do you email them at night? Because Paul doesn't sleep.
Oh, do I what, sorry?
You don't sleep, do you?
Yeah, sleep's
You
all right.
work at night?
Yeah.
Or do you wait till the next day?
To email them? On what, the query or
No,
something?
with the report.
Oh, the report, I mean, we put in our, in that first report that we'll try and get our reports to them no later than Thursday night, so it takes a while to ring everyone back, because we're really follow up religiously on board and people back. And it's no use doing the report if we haven't got any comments or feedbacks. So if we can get it to them earlier, we will.
Yeah.
It used to be Wednesday, now I just give myself a little bit of leeway and make sure it's there by Thursday.
So when people come through your open home, do you let them write their names? Do you let them write their names and numbers, or do you and Jolene ask?
I hover over the open home book, so if they want to write it, that's fine, and if I can't read it, then I get their number, or if they have
Because a lot of people.
Yeah, nothing worse than getting
Yeah.
a book and there's no contact. No.
Yeah. And generally mobile phones now?
Yeah.
People generally can't lie to your face, so if you are doing that, it's unlikely that they will write something that's
Yeah,
incorrect.
it's very odd time you get a number that's not right.
So were you confident by the time you came to the last week that this property was going to sell?
I think because we were so busy with auctions, we ran 2 auctions that day. I actually combined the last 2 weeks, which is not normal, but
But a lot of people in the room would only do a 4-week campaign.
yeah, so
anyway,
that's 5.
yeah.
So by the end, by the 3rd week, someone had done a building report, but it wasn't put in writing. He brought a mate through who used to do building inspections, and I said, and then they told me verbally that there were issues, and I said, well, are you going to put that in writing? It's no use to me. I can't give it to the vendor if I don't have something in writing, and they didn't. And I think it was in the 4th week that another party got a very extensive building report done, which they did make available to us on the basis that they didn't want it to go to other people, but they were happy for it to go to the vendors. Yeah.
So this last report, you've emailed it to them, you're meeting them in the city
Yeah.
on...
Normally meet the week before. Unfortunately, just to compound things with that particular one, the vendor went back into hospital with he just had knee surgery, which went wrong. So we didn't even actually get to do the week out and bring them down to the auction rooms. But fortunately, he got out of hospital the morning of the auction and came with his wife, and so they were reasonably relaxed. I mean, they had all the information, and by then it looked like we had some pretty interested parties.
So you talk about parties that have got interest at the moment, you also talk about the previous interest and where they've gone and why they've decided not to. Once again, you do more market update. You also summarise by saying, putting the issues aside surrounding the integrity of the plastic-clad home. So you're not hiding from what is the biggest challenge with this property continually, which I think is really, really good. It gives them some idea of what's going to happen tomorrow at the auction, and also covers that you've tried to be as accurate as possible with regards to the feedback on value, and we've passed that on, but for those who have viewed the property and formed an opinion. The value range has been anywhere from 2.5 to CV, so that's 2.5 to 3. So I think to not sort of fall on your sword last report is actually quite hard for a reader, and whether you're right or wrong, that's genuinely what you thought at the time, isn't it? Yeah. You can be assured though that we'll be doing everything possible tomorrow to allow you to see how much the buyers are prepared to pay. You talk about the reserve set in quite some detail, and basically giving them the advice to set the reserve at what they'll sell for, not necessarily their dream price, and about how that's critical to the success in the auction room tomorrow, and obviously ending with you remain confident in getting the property sold. So we're auction day, and what happened? How many of these buyers turned up?
We actually had, I think, 3 buyers in the room and one on the phone from Europe by then. One of the interesting things with that one was one buyer texted me, I don't know about you guys, but I don't relax till you're in the auction room and see who's there. Then I kind of relax, and it's pretty much Daniel will do this work, I think. But I got a text at 10 to 2 from 20 to 2, and the guy says, what time do I need to be at the auction? And I kind of thought, who is this? And it was a guy who'd come through maybe a week before, the weekend before, or the week before. We gave him the information, and I said, do you need me to email any of this or in an electronic form? No, I don't think I'll be at the auction. And pretty much that was it. I said, do you want me to call you back? No, that's all right. Okay. And so it was him. So he's turning up at the auction. So what went through my mind then was, I hadn't told him since he came through the property about the building report and the issues, and I was freaking out too long. So I had a quick chat to Daniel, and I did text him on the phone. I said, I need to tell you about some things. There's this and this. And then I was looking out for him in the auction. I couldn't see him, and he actually was sitting down the front. So I went and tapped him on the shoulder, because Daniel said, go and talk to him out the front under the cameras, because there's cameras out there, and have your discussion. And we did all that. And the guy said, it's okay, your ass is covered, sort of thing. But I just thought, it just blew me away that someone turned up like that. And who opens the bidding? He opened the bidding at $2 million. And, we weren't even actually planning on being there. And he bid to 2.5, 2.6, I think, and then he dropped out. So, so the people who had the building report done, I think they were out at about 2.5, something like that. They were pretty firm on what they would pay. And the other chap who had his own building inspection report done with his friend was there till about 2.8, and then he dropped out, and the phone bidder ended up. Daniel worked his magic. Yeah. So.
Daniel would have to be one of the best negotiators I've ever worked with, and he does it in such an unassuming way that people don't feel like they're slammed up against the wall. But you also identify if any buyer needs to be looked after by Ray or whoever, right? So, as much as possible, potential issues are covered. But when you got to the point where they had the offer, and it's obviously still, what, 350,000 less than their reserve.
Yeah.
Sorry, the highest bid was 2.8.
And then Daniel
It was
negotiated.
2.8, and then the phone bidder had been bidding as well.
Yeah.
So
And push him up 300 on his own.
That was all Daniel's work, really, to be honest. But it was interesting, because that phone bidder had told me that he thought it was probably 3.2. You won't find any mention of that in the report, because it was just verbal stuff again. So.
And he viewed the property or not?
Yeah, he viewed it. Yeah, he had viewed it, and I told him about the building reports, and from day one said, do you want to get a building report done? And so all those emails are on file as well. But I think he was buying it, and he'd indicated it's probably not worth it, because I'll probably knock it down within 2 years. So it was looking at the land.
And what was the CP on the land?
About 150. Yeah, and the house was about 900 or something. Yeah.
So how much time do you think it takes every week to produce this?
2 hours.
And that's not counting the phone back?
No, not phone backs. No, because
I see some of these conversations you put. I spoke to this guy for 28 minutes. And slotting a couple of those sorts of things in is really good as well.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, everybody, Paul is very, very meticulous in what he does. It clearly works, but that's not the expectation. He's well above benchmark, I guess, about that.
I did try for 3 years to make you do a simpler version.
What was that?
I tried for 3 years to get you to simplify.
I know.
But what I'd like to do, though, is a bit of a test to see where everybody sits around what they do with auctions. So hands in the air and hold them up there if you're a rating firm with auctions in the first instance. God, there should be lots of hands in the air. Keep your hands in there, please.
Was your question a great believer or a great user of auction?
That you believe that auction is the only method of sale?
Only method of sale.
Okay, so take your hand down if you're not doing better reporting for your auctions. Keep them up. Good on. And are you meeting face to face, particularly at the tail end of your auction campaign with them? Take your hand down if you aren't. And last but not least, are you getting your vendors into an auction the week before to have a look at what's going on? So it's an opportunity. I know you two do that.
Sometimes we can't get them to the actual auction, but we sit down and have a really big conversation around what is going to happen on the day. And even repeating stuff that either Brian or Sven or Daniel will say, because then they've heard it, and so when they get to hear it in that meeting, that's not extraneous stuff for them.
Yep. So there's a huge amount of apprehension involved with being vendors and going to an auction. The one thing we can do, it's in our power to do this, is to give them familiarity around the process. That on the day of the auction, it's not, what am I going to get for this property? This whole process is confusing. I don't want to be here. It's just, what am I going to get for my property today? And you've actually removed a risk factor for them getting overwhelmed by the whole process. So it's a very good practice. I'd highly recommend it to everybody to do it.
Yeah, question. How much of your reporting is templated?
Sorry?
Guys, can we all get just listen, please?
How much of your reports are templated?
Oh, well, I mean, I cut and paste from one to the other, and I mean, that was a great auction, but we had an auction as well the same day that we had bidding on but didn't sell. So, you know, it's all about just personalising them, because I've seen reports in there and you look at something and that shouldn't be in there, that's got no relevance to this particular property. So all the guts in the middle is actually done individually, and the bit at the start and the bit at the end are fairly generic, but I do change them and keep an eye on what's happening in the market. I think it's really important that it looks from the vendor's point of view that it is personalised. And yeah, some of the ones that are, it's like a CMA, I still do my own one rather than going onto Property Smarts and Spittings. I've seen one from Harcourts, and it had 27 property sales in there, and it all just looked the same. It's just something you can spit off the computer.
Vendors know that now, don't they? They say, oh, so-and-so told me one, but they just printed it
Yeah.
off, so they recognise it.
I mean, on Property Suite as well, basically, we're going to have a whole training session on reporting, but we have got Ruth here, so should we do that now? Right?
Yeah.
Just so that we don't waste your time, Ruth.
John's working through Property Suite on some of the ones that, so she'll be the lead, she's listed it, she's the lead agent if I listed it on the lead agent, but we work together on all our properties. And she's doing, and I said, well, I'll switch to Property Suite when we've got it 100% right, and in the meantime I'll just carry on like that, because I'm an old person, it takes me a while to change, so I'd rather keep it simple. I know I can whack that out. It still takes 2 hours per report. But
I think also if you see Paul Doer's advertising, and when I see agents who take marketing off people and write ads in about 5 seconds flat, I kind of just shake my head. Paul agonises over who the target market is, making sure that you have got virtually every space filled.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
in terms of
If you're paying $2,000 or $1,500, $1,800 for a half-page Herald ad, I'll use the text to it. And yet you'll see, we want to
I
tell
know.
them as much about property
Yeah.
as you can.
So, I mean, success does leave clues, and there is no shortcut, and particularly in this type of market, we're not dealing with an easy market, and then you add to the mix, plaster homes are just very difficult. But I think if you do everything you can and handle it in a really professional manner, and have some knowledge of what the product actually is, it does help. So we've got Ruth here for 10 minutes, Ruth? Should we just do a quick...
Well, I just thought just whilst we're talking about Paul's scenario, and it's a great way to sort of summarise everything. So Paul originally praised in this range here. He had CB sitting in the background at 3 million and 5, and he had registered valuation sitting, the vendors that registered valuation at 3.5 million. As you track through your vendor reporting throughout the weeks, you had conversations with people at their market levels. You were having a whole lot of sort of people topping out and giving you feedback in this sort of zone, weren't you?
Yeah.
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 And that was showed to vendors all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah. On auction day, they came back in and they said, here's our reserve. How did you get that across the line on the day? How did Daniel get it across the line on the day?
Yeah, well look, at the end of the day, they had 5 weeks of marketing, they had 50 people through, they had a load of feedback, but nothing I think had been over the CV was the words we used. And even that guy that I said initially was talking, oh, it's probably 3.2. When I spoke to him 2 or 3 days out, he was telling me 2.7 to 2.8, and I think I put that in that last report as well. So I'm glad I didn't mention the 3.2 earlier on, because over 5 weeks he's now 2.7, 2.8, because he'd heard there were issues with the house as well.
Did you cop a little bit when you
you've done your March figures or your May
Yeah.
figures, and you've got a CV at 1.1 and they're probably sold for 1.6.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other one was 1,025,000 and sold for 1,511.
Yeah, well,
If
that
you
was,
were the vendor and you chucked that one and you're saying, well, I've got a,
No,
I've got
but-
a registered valuation of 3.5, and here, these are all 500.
yeah, that's a registered valuation too.
Yeah.
But,
It's
no, but
good.
those were interestingly two of our options from 2 weeks earlier, which we tried to get them at. And they were just the results of 4 to 6 people at both auctions
Having a
and what
crack.
they can do. And so that's why he went there. He was happy to get out of the auction.
We'd all love to see 50% over.
I know,
CVs.
those are,
This is
those
a
are,
question. I highly recommend using this as a visual way to get people cues around it. And it can work post auction as well. But to your question there, if somebody asks you, look, you're getting all this traction with those sales elsewhere, just draw a triangle. Well, down this end of the market, you've got about that much people that are not even buy that. Probably not everybody wants to buy it, but it's a damn sight more people, numbers, that can play in that market. And that's why we think we're still getting the results. But where you are, is that. So we're only dealing with a few people that can do it, and they're pretty damn picky about what they want. We've just diffused this whole conversation around that particular piece and getting that focus on that. But I think, the thing that stood out for me is Paul's technique does a great job of telling them all the way through, here's your sentiment. If they roll in on auction day and want to set the reserve at that level, that's absolutely fine. It's not getting in the way of that, but it's an Daniel with this knowledge, because then he can work to do this on the day. And that's exactly what he did. Like, auction floor, on the day you had bang, 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 and then plateau with one guy. 4 became 1 in the space of $750,000 worth of bidding, and we were still $750,000 short of the reserve. And Daniel just went to work on the guy and said, look, we can get this party up to a certain level here, and if you come down to that, he'd already been schooled around what the market value is. He had his set for sale meetings all the way through. That is the reason why $3.5 million reserve turned into 3,150 sale on the day.
Do you find,
Can I just
with
ask this,
with reserves, I often find, sometimes you might be wrong, but mostly I feel for vendors, it's actually just a safeguard. They just want to see what's going to happen, and that actually, I don't mean it's irrelevant, but they pop that there to save themselves, and and once they see everything happening, often, not always, I don't mean to say it's irrelevant, but do you find that? It's
we
a
say to them,
safeguard
look,
for them?
and Daniel will say that to them as well. He'll say, I don't mind, the reserve is just a figure you're putting there. Our job is to actually get as much money as people are prepared to pay. So hopefully it's above that. But
I think Daniel handles that question well. I've seen you when I worked with you before do that really well as well. It's good if the whole team from Bailey's knows what's going on around that. So having conversations with not only Daniel or the other any of the other auctioneers prior to where you think they're going to put their reserve set level, just give them an idea around that piece.
And I'll often say to vendors, and you were at the auction, I think, and one of those ones you saw there that sold for 50%, 40% over the CV, we said, I'd actually rather not know what the reserve is. I tell the vendor, I don't need to know what the reserve is. Often the auctioneer will tell us just before the auction starts. But we don't need to know. We've done all the work, and
So I've had seen it done the other way around, where the agents have been working with ATOP, who've given us feedback all the way through, rolled into a reserve set meeting, and Mark rolled in with a limited amount of knowledge of this. And they said they want to set the reserve up here, sort of thing. And just the faces dropped from the head. It's like, oh my God, there goes 6 weeks worth of work. It's like that. But Mark was bang on. He said, look, the reserves are relevant. We'll set it at the level you want, and if we still give you the opportunity to sell it. That's how Bailey's auction is different from the rest of the marketplace. But it's a great way to look at it. Forget about the reserve, put it out of your head, you've done your work, now let Daniel or the other auctioneers do their part.
I was asked Paul quickly, you said you were confident before the auction would sell.
Sorry?
You answered to Debbie that you were confident before the auction would sell.
Yeah.
Do you have a feeling of what it would sell for? Was it as high as what it went for? Were you thinking high too?
I thought it sold. Well, because that buy was there, I was pretty confident it would be around the CV level, to be honest.
Yeah. And were you at all, because you did such good reporting during that period, were you a little either taken back or deflated when they said 3.5? What you were talking about, did that at all make you think, have you not been listening to?
Yeah, look, those guys own a shitload of property in Auckland. They're not silly people, but so they do what they do, but deep down they were obviously taking note of what we were saying, I think. So again, in that instance, I thought the reserve was pretty irrelevant. But yes, I did sort of think, shit, okay, but
Yeah.
it
And
does
lastly,
have a lot of
was this sold under the hammer or was it post
Yeah.
up? It was sold under the
Yeah.
hammer.
Yeah,
But that's where the reports are so critical, because a lot of people will read them.
yeah, and they take it on board, but they won't let us know.
No.
And, you know, you are given, I mean, you're not trying to knock them around, but that's just the feedback you're getting. And let's be honest, and with those last two auctions that you mentioned, they blew both Johnny and I out of the water. We couldn't believe what those went for. Our CV on one of those, our appraisal range was 1,250 to 1,350. The vendors were happy with that. They're happy with the appraisal. They signed it up.
Did they give you double the commission?
Sorry?
Did they give you double the commission?
No. The odd one will do that. But they signed that's the reserve we walked out. I didn't need to know about it, and they signed the reserve above where our appraisal range was. But the feedback was still around or in that appraisal range, and it sold for sold for 1,511,000 or something. So you just don't know.
And so, Paul, on another note, you also make a huge deal about the client gift, don't you?
The gifts.
The gifts
Yeah.
afterwards. So
Yeah.
you often go to dinner with the parties.
Yeah.
The gift basket is
Yeah.
not just the standard tick.
Yeah,
It's the gift basket
okay.
that
I'm
just.
sorry, but I think for the amount of money and
Mm.
Kirsty and them out here, but the $50 is nothing. Ours can be anywhere from 350 to 500, I suppose, depending on what we put in.
They look amazing.
Yeah.
So it's the gift basket with things added.
It's all
It's also
relevant.
just
Yeah.
that going out to dinner seems to work really well in terms of.
And sorry, it's
introducing-
vendor and purchaser?
Sorry?
Vendor and purchaser or just the vendor?
Yeah, vendor and purchaser, yeah. I mean, we love taking our purchaser gifts in when they've just moved into their new house, and yeah, we have River Nile up there who make beautiful sheets and things like that. So quite often we'll get a set of them and then top it up with the stuff that Bailey's give us and our own things on top of that.
Yeah, they look
Probably get
very
a lot
impressive.
of local this conversation,
Yeah.
guys, but
Yeah.
look, one last point I was going to make. This is not something that I've just cooked up and used. It's something that when I was in my prior role in bank, we use on a regular basis, and there's a reason behind it. So going back to your point earlier on around that, Diane, that if it's your CMA, it's your values, then people will disown it. So one thing you can do, and it's no discredit what Paul does, because I think his vendor reporting is brilliant, but vendor reporting just given to them and talked around, maybe on the phone, is not there. They're not taking ownership of those numbers and all the rest of it. You sit down with them and you can set up just a simple word template that's got dollar values up the side and time on the x-axis. Have that set up and then sit in front of them and just go through your vendor report. So you'll set for sale meeting, there's a great visual cue for them to say and just do exactly what it did. It takes 4 or 5 seconds. So we originally appraised in this band here. The CV is here. Take a couple of different colour pens if you've got them. It's always handy to do so. Throughout the campaign, we've given you vendor reports, so you can have a look back here. Mr. and Mrs. Smith said they saw value around about here. They're not going to be at the auction. Just take that into consideration. Then you had Bob and Sue who came in. They clearly love the place. That's probably where they've got their value. By the end of that, you've got this visual thing that you've brought them into the conversation with, and it's actually their decision then based on your conversation with them around how and where they set that reserve for the sale process. It's a bloody great way to actually get people on board and make that set for sale meeting something tangible that they're actually deciding on the basis of your feedback, your information that you've given to them throughout the campaign.
Yeah, and the week before the auction, it's also quite handy if you can grab your manager or whatever, because it's really easy as a manager to say to the owner, if we only get, like in that instance, with Paul's scenario, if we can only get to say 2.8 on the day, what will you do? And you won't get an answer, but it actually makes them stop, think and go, gosh, we might have to, if we want to sell, entertain selling at a figure that's lower than we've indicated. And it's just easy to slot into the conversation.
You're right. So they've then gone and set reserve up here. You've had the conversation with them. What happens if on the day we can't get the sale across the line? Any thoughts? Just bring this back out again. Have a conversation with them. How look, clearly you want this price point. Go back to the balancing act between getting the sale versus the time taken to achieve it. So look, you're still up at this level. Based on that, the campaign would run. You can see we've had lots of feedback around where that price is. Are you the best owner for this property? And let them answer that question, don't answer it for them. And then see post that, well, what do you want to do next? So are we going to put a price on it at that level? It helps with your post campaign conversations. So then you just become a case of what's in here. What are we doing price-wise? So it's a very handy tool. It's visual. People are visual learners in terms of getting all that information hitting them as well. Highly recommend you do it.
Right, thank you, Paul. That's great. So quickly, just one question that I know that Andrea has for you, Ruth, with regard to vendor reporting. Andrea, do you want to talk about collating all the information and stats?
Yes, just doing a vendor report last night and just wondering how through Property Suite you grab all the trade meter, real estate, any of that information that we've got sitting there, how does that get attached to the report? Yeah.
Well, that's controlled by the dates that you enter at the top of the vendor report. So when you start it, you're putting in it's from Monday to Sunday, or you're going to do a month or whatever. And then you save at that point, and then that will pull through any marketing that the girls have booked and entered, and then that will come through in your template. The only ones that won't feed through are the Herald, because the Herald cannot talk to Property Suite at the back end, so any Herald advertising will to manually load up yourself.
Any other questions?
Herald comes through.
Does it? Yeah. Carousel?
I was wondering if it doesn't to the ads.
The ads that the girls have booked will, but yes, the stats won't.
So on when you click on vendor report, there are dates at the top.
Yes, so it all starts at what you put at the top.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're not seeing something come through, it'll either be because it's outside the date range, or the admin girls have actually not booked that advertising,
Okay.
or it's and then it won't be.
So just sorry to speak here. So all the advertising that's booked by admin should feed through to the process.
Yep.
Okay.
How many people are using Property Suite for their reporting?
That's might go to breakfast.
Good people. Well done.
It is getting better though, isn't it? Yeah. When we first introduced it, Tara Lindsay from My Only Bay was one of the agents trialling it, and she's a pretty smart girl. She was very frustrated, but I think it's losing its clunkiness.
Yes, I mean there are advantages to using it because it'll save you time. And just on what Paul was saying, you can actually set up your own word if you've got set things you want to say in each week of a campaign. I'd suggest you start your own word templates that you can copy and paste your basic week 1, week 2, week 3, and then adapt it for the specific property, the specific vendor, and that'll just save you time.
Well, you then get spell check in it.
Good question. Don't know the answer to which. Good. Yeah. True. It's not the
I mean,
another good reason to start with Word, maybe, because you can spell check in there and then just.
So if you do your report, Ruth, and you make a mistake, what is the quickest way to go back in and, like, you see a spelling mistake after you've done it? That seems to take ages. Like to open the report.
You've got to go back
to
the
the
report. Yeah.
You have to be better at that.
Yeah.
So the more you use it, the better you get at it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, spelling is the big thing, but yes, read it, go back and change it. If you've got really good text, just reuse your text when you're creating them.
Mine's got stuff here.
Does it?
why?
You're on the newer model, don't even know about that.
Because I really need it.
Or maybe it's something new, because they're always releasing new things.
Put a
They
couple
don't
parents
necessarily tell us this. Here.
Because I start out the wrong way every time.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
it's a crisis.
Seriously.
Bruce, can you
So it doesn't
let
correct,
us
but it
know?
underlines it.
Can you
Inside the document.
Yeah.
Sorry, can
You suss out whether or not.
Andrea.
Andrea.
Can you just have a look at Andrews and see why we don't do that?
Do you think I've already made that show? What sort of computer are you using?
Okay, well, we're going to have a whole session on this, aren't we, in about 10th of July-ish. So in July, we're talking property suite, vendor reporting, buyer matching, and marketing and flyers.
Yes, I mean, the big advantages of using vendor reports in Property Suite, I believe, is just time saving. Because you can enter, you can put one entry for your contacts, so whoever's called about a property will come to an open home, you can put that straight against the property in Property Suite, and then that one entry will feed to your vendor reports, it'll go straight into your contacts, it'll start your buyer matching, and then that contact is listed against that property forever, so you can easily email everyone that's been to a property, tell them about price changes, send them auction documents, remind them the auction's coming up. Everything just happens all at once if you use vendor report on the attendee register, so that's what I'll focus on next month.
So that should be compulsory.
I had a meeting with Bruce on Friday just to work out a better way of feeding people through with continued interest, because I like to, when somebody's inquired on a property, if in one of the reports we've said waiting for feedback or whatever it might be, I want the vendor to know it's definitely a no, you know, if that's what it is. So I think at the end of the day, so I like to have them as to I can either tick them off or
Because there's three options at the moment, isn't there? Like interested, no.
But it's the date thing, when you do your report for your next week, those ones have dropped off sort of thing, so I...
Just tick them again, Jane.
Okay.
Yeah, just because it gives you an option, you just choose
Yeah.
which feedback options, because
Okay.
it's smaller, and you just choose which ones, so you can say, okay, this week tick yes, and you can change your comment to followed up, and they decided against it, no further interest.
So with that, so that, and the other thing was, and that's why I'm having the meeting with Ruth on Friday, just to sort of do things, because the same with even like it's the font size and things.
It's so small.
Yeah, so there's little things like that that I'm going to talk with Ruth, but I do like the fact that we can now plug in the people and it filters through, and it does pull through some of that marketing nicely, whereas before we used to have photocopies originally of ads glued on and things like that. So I do like that side of it, and using the property suite side of it, but really similar to Paul in terms of giving as much information as you can, ticking off exactly what you're doing all the time, because I think people just don't realise actually how much you do. Whether it's sussing that the photo signs in place and then not at the property and showing them a photo of it.
Well, as well as emailing that, I courier it the next day to the house, so it costs me courier fees. But I send that, I send the Herald with the glossy, with the ad highlighted, and any other marketing materials with a preview that are highlighted, so they can see all that as well. Ain't a lot of fun, is it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing we do a fortnightly vendor update and email. Just an email to all our vendors, and so it comes off Dear Ray. And what we talk about, first of all, we just have a general overview of what's happening in the market. We then give them a specific, over the last fortnight, we have had so many groups to so many properties. We've had so many sales going traditional, we've had so many appraisals, and then finish off with any marketing opportunities, maybe how to present your home, whatever it might be. And we do that because some people are good with written reports, some people like email, some people like phone calls, so it's trying to balance out. And also why we do that is if we're saying we've had 7 groups to 3 properties and that vendor's had nobody, they might ask a question. If you've had 7 groups to 2 properties and one vendor's had 5, they know that they're doing okay in our marketplace as well. So it's particularly because, again, we're like Paul, that most of our vendors are city-based, are Auckland, and they might be living in a market. I remember years ago we used to go to Auction Focus Groups, they would be down at head office, and we'd be sitting there and someone go, in Ponsonby, oh, I've only had 50 people through today, and you know, we go, we've got 3 to our lifestyle property and we're really happy. So it's about making it relative for people so they can understand what's happening and to see, and also what's working. So because some of the properties we don't have on auction campaigns, and so if they're seeing sales are going through and they're not getting a sale, you know, there's another why is that, and having a conversation with them. So we find that really good. And
Do you think the buyers can change now that we've got access to their emails and their mobile phones? You know, I think the good old days we used to bring on a Monday night and everyone had a landline, and or a Sunday night, and they would be home. I think there's a bit of a challenge with more ability to either not answer, however you're calling them. But do you agree that that's a bit more work now?
That's probably difficult, that side of things, but Robbie's really good because he Googles people and has a look at who they are and what they are and knows a lot about them. And often we'll find a connection, and so when he's ringing, and we'll just say it's just a brief chat.
It's surprising the number of people that are hanging out for Lotto as their finance reasons.
When do you follow up? On a Monday or?
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday. And look, often, I'll try some during the day, but most of the time you get it at night.
Yeah, but I don't like ringing people in the day because people can be in an open office environment. I always ask if it's convenient at all.
Yeah.
There's so many open plan offices now.
But you really, these days, have a landline number that actually all mobile numbers.
And you were saying about that guy turning up at the auction. How many times did you run that guy and like 4 phone calls?
And I ran by 4 times, and sent him probably 3 emails.
Yeah.
And hadn't replied to any of them. And he rocked up at the auction.
Yeah.
And then he complained because he didn't get the chance to bid.
But he what?
And then he complained and sent me another note back and said that, you know, he thought the auctioneer didn't really handle it well and things like that. So I passed it on to Sabina. And Sabina wrote a really nice reply. So I included her reply and then sent it back to him and said, if you're interested, tell me, rang him again, never heard from him again.
But it is interesting, so that is that more access to information and things.
I Googled him as well, he can afford it.
So if your auction doesn't sell, do you do an overview of?
We sell all the
No, on the day. I'm talking about on the day. So the panel of fabulous reports, you've done everything possible, you haven't sold, what do you do next?
We've just had one, and so the next report they got, because for their particular property, in terms of a value, we used a circa figure, and we're hoping that because we've just had 2 really good sales, so everyone thinks that miracles are out there, and so it didn't get above that, so we're saying, well, it probably needs to be here. So we actually then put together as much information as we can in different ways. So we took the flyer that we've been handing out of all the properties, we took all the CVs and the sale prices and see, you know, percentage-wise, this is what that would look like, if it was an average, if it was the highest. We took the other sales, and again, that we'd done right at the start, talked about all of those. Sometimes we'll do like what it might cost to build and buy the land, you know, just every sort of way possible, and helping them with a value. They've now given us an indication of the price, and we're still at that same level. They did indicate to us, they asked us if we could leave, and they were given a 5-minute, and she said argument. Well, they worked out the price, so what we gather is we're not on the same level.
And the thing, the CD on the basis of 1.6, and a range of probably 5 or 6 people that we've had a discussion with, they see value between 1.6 and 3 million. So it's one of those sort of properties.
I think you'll
Don't
also,
tell them it's 3 million.
you'll also find that if it hasn't sold on auction, quite often what comes up is any little thing that has gone wrong during the campaign, and that's whether something didn't go online early enough or the sign didn't go up on that day, and so there's quite a bit of damage control if you're not
Yeah, we were lucky with
front-footing
this one. They were really happy all along, and even their son loved the marketing, he's a marketing person, and so they've been really happy about it. We've still got to try and help sell the property.
Yeah.
And it's no good telling them something that's, you know.
No, but but sometimes it leaves clues when you've got a client that hates the photos right from the start, hates the tech, you know, like, they're kind of quite hard to manage, and you just hope like anything that you do sell on the day and everybody sounds off happily to see on it. But you manage your clients generally to sale, is that what Robbie's saying?
Yeah,
You sell everything you list.
mostly.
Yeah.
We've got two at the minute that we haven't sold anything, but normally an agency, like that.
So if you get to the end of your 90 days, do you relist?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about going to the opposition or...
Well, the thing is they committed to an auction, so they put forward a lot of money. So, you know, it's our job to get them sold, and sometimes, occasionally,
takes time.
things happen. One we ended up getting a conditional sale for them, you know, so that took quite a long time.
Because for the last 2 years, we've sold 100% of our auction properties.
Wow, that's
Not all
amazing.
at auction, but we've always sold.
Yeah.
There's a vacuum, it's beautiful.
And mind you, there's one in 2003 that we did pretty good stuff.
Hey, I don't know, it's not right.
Everyone want to move to London?
No, it's not like that, and I think we're in a again going into that changing market, I think it's interesting.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because not everybody wants to run their property through an auction, and despite our passion for the auction process at Daly's and great track record on that front, we can't win every battle on that front. So let's say somebody's elected non-auction, non-campaign, and they want to either go via negotiation or pricing as well too. One thing that sort of stands out for me is that this process still works for that, and I'm quite interested around how people incorporate set for sale type discussions with their vendors in that situation. So let's say Karen, say yourself for example, if you've got a property that's on, do you do buy negotiation?
No,
Fair enough.
every purchase always an auction.
Auction?
So I don't always get it.
Yep.
Most people do, and I'm quite harsh with my vendors. You know, set for sale or expressions of interest. What the heck is that? Yeah, I'm interested in your property, but what do I do? Do I have to put an offer in writing? What does the poor purchaser do? So you spin it round and say, you were a purchaser, what would you do?
Yep.
And I often say that if you won't go to auction, it's either the agents will win or the vendors will win. And everything else is a win for the auction.
So this is a brilliant set for sale meeting right back at the start of the conversation. Well done on that front.
I don't always get it, and I'm quite not as blunt as that, but
Yeah.
obviously, but fairly blunt, you know. Auctions are a lot more work for the agent, and a lot of agents don't know how to run an auction well. A lot of agents don't want to do all that work behind the scenes. It's absolutely no difference to you, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor.
Yep.
You know, which method of sale you choose, it's the same. You've got to make the house available for inspections and get ready once a week for an open home, etc. Come to meetings. But behind the scenes for us it's quite different. If I can't do an auction, I'll often try let's try the first 2 to 4 weeks by negotiation or with no price. Preferably just no price. 2 words by negotiation. I don't know what you guys are finding. It just seems to be puts people off, puts buyers off. And if we haven't achieved any interest or interest that we're satisfied with within the 2 to 4 weeks, then we go into an auction.
Around what is worth. We don't really think we're going to achieve that for you, but hey, we're happy to run that 2 to 4 weeks and see how it goes. But we're going to have some meetings along the way, so that's that. Kind of where I was sort of trying to aim towards is that set for sale meetings beyond this first one where they're not giving you anything to work with. How do you then have that conversation? Some people call it a crisis meeting, but it is just, you know, your vendor reporting, sort of suggesting there's not the level of interest. We're not getting it at all because we're telling the market nothing, and we're not trying to put a timeline to where the market can tell us something. How do you run those meetings? And that's what I guess wanted to throw to the floor. How do you do that?
I don't have success with money.
Yep.
Yep. I think as long as you have really candid, quality conversations up front with the vendors,
Yep.
And then you can open it wide, and you don't go perennially, you need like good time frames for 2 weeks, and then if they haven't, and they're educated, they've got some feedback, and they can price as sharply as possible. And then I think it's just having those conversations about how they lose leverage as a seller with every day, week, minute, second in this marketplace.
Perfect.
And that's the reality. And for instance, we had our first open house last weekend for a property. So it's been on the market about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. 20 groups strong by me, pasta. No Kempton. Cranston, no. Cranston, no. Holyfield. 16-year-old home. And so we're going to group it on by Monday. It's going to go unconditional, hopefully, by this Friday. Now, we didn't price it because if we overpriced it, people would go, oh, they don't have much requirement. You know, if we underpriced it, you know, it's really successful. The vendors went into shock, right? So they're on the 5-yard line, the roof was looking at every offer in this marketplace worth looking at because they just expect it to be local because they're so primed for it to be a slog.
Yep.
Right? And so they wouldn't even see me. Got an offer on Sunday night. We'll sleep on it. You haven't heard it. I don't know what it is. So anyway, so there was some readers. And then when I told them, they said, no, 100 grand apart. Met them on Monday morning. And she said, but it's so early and we just started. And I said this on the phone because I wouldn't see it. And I said, this is a 6 o'clock. It was late. And I said, but that's pure logic. If you take your logic and you extrapolate that out, then, and I gave them examples, for instance, one they're trying to buy. And the property you're trying to buy, you should be paying $3 million for because they first went on the market 3 years ago. And they went, yeah, we'll see in the morning. You know, so I don't know. I think my need's okay as long as you can.
Well, I think it's okay. What you've just painted for everybody in the room is the set the sale conversations that we're having at the start around.
Brutal.
Well, they are, but they're all relevant for them as well too. Paint the pictures around it. You may not achieve a sale in a certain time frame or price if you're not giving any market signals. We're prepared to do that with you, but let's put a finite time on it. We're going to give you lots of feedback around what the market, well, hopefully lots of feedback around what the market's telling us if they're willing to give us anything. And like you said, you had them primed for probably an outcome down here because of the way they were looking to take their property to the market. And then you're pleasantly surprised. That's not a bad way to do things.
It's under-promising. I mean, 3 out of 6 systems have gone on the market at the moment. I've all been on with other agencies over the last 2 years, all over-promised.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the thing, just get out of the way of the economic process.
Yeah.
And it's pre-framing what perhaps is going to happen. And I think if you've got difficult conversations to have, whether that be face-to-face or on the phone, do be really clear about that conversation and write your points down before you pick up the phone so that you have some idea of what you're trying to convey, even though you're not really, well, most people don't like having difficult conversations. And
that's a real differentiator in the marketplace at the moment is that the softly type agents are not getting sales because they're not having those
Tough love. It's
tough
love. You know,
conversations.
I say to the vendors, I could tell you things that'll make your eyes sparkle and you'll help me go put the sales on it right now. This is an appraisal stage.
Yeah. And imagine what that relationship's going to be like in 6 months or 12 months if there's no sale.
That's right. A lot of them are smarting from having had those already. So, but I think with Di, you weren't about how buyers.
Yeah, with the buyers.
Oh, it's really simple. I just stay out of the process. So, for instance, it's on the market, you know, you give them all the facts, what it is, how long who Belgium is, what its CV is, and then it's urgency. I think in this marketplace, the buyers are apathetic. You've got an option, you've got a deadline. If you don't have a deadline, you've got, you know, you need to create that sense of urgency. So we expect a copy and a title. That particular property, we've got Steal Your Future.
yeah, the text is always really, really good.
It's getting the vendors on board to allow, to have the faith to allow you to go hard on the start line, not go, this is beautiful and glamorous and gorgeous, and there's, you know, 90 days later go, come now, vendor wants out. You know, so we start vendor wants out on the start line. And yeah, so that's, you know,
And you're also up here, you're not between the vendor and the buyer when you're negotiating. Because I think we're trying to either hold on to some values in this market because it must be worth X amount of dollars. Our job is to facilitate the sale. It is not to be right here.
yeah.
Feeling, you know, like that you're doing more for one than the other and that you should sell because, you know, this is the absolute best. It is a matter of just negotiating, and that's what we're being paid. The permission for, is to get that sale.
It's actually a reserve, setting a reserve, and how you were saying that the vendors want that padding and they want that security blanket so they don't undersell it. And so, you know, if they don't go to the auction and declare a reserve, they might not tell you, or they might tell them at the start line what their bottom dollar is, and they go, well, you don't get me an offer over 1.5, don't even ring, don't want to know about it. I just ignore that, totally ignore it.
Yeah, Gavin, in fact, we are subject matter experts around what's happening in the marketplace. This is a ladies' market, and we have theatre systems, process practices, and knowledge of people that work on the ground floor as well. The other thing I was going to say is that, you know, those conversations you're having at the front and in front of it, let's say 6 weeks have elapsed and you're going out and seeing them again. Quite interested around people's thoughts on this, but I've seen some of my salespeople give them a phone call and say that they are going to have a meeting with them and they're going to send through an agenda about what that meeting's about. But it is not great news. So they pre-frame and sit down and have another second sale meeting with them, crisis time meeting, with that, and then they put an agenda around it. So feedback on the marketing today, other sales that have occurred, and just highlight some key points so that they send it through the night before, and when they turn up on the day, like you've done with your vendors, you've sort of pre-exposed them to this is what is happening, and their conversations can be a lot more robust at that stage. If you hit somebody with a, you know, don't do this over the phone obviously, but if you hit somebody between the eyes, sitting in front of them, hey look, we're really struggling to sell your property, this is what the market's telling them first up, and you're likely to get a bigger response back first up. So it's a good ploy to use for those second sale or crisis type meetings when you're sitting down with them, is to pre-define it by an agenda through as well. Yeah.
Some people show the meeting and we just do is when we take the reports, we take them, that he's emailing them first.
Yep.
And actually we found that quite good because I think often as a couple, we've already chatted about it and had their discussion around it. And so by the time we're sitting down, they've actually tweaked other ideas after that. So that I think is quite
So everyone's been told to be nice to the other.
Yeah,
We got that.
exactly.
That's what about it.
Yeah, so is there any other questions around that? Process around it? Or any particular points in this morning's conversation? Or we'll work a bit more around that area? I know that we've got training sessions coming up on
Next week's negotiation.
negotiation, but in terms of growth from the property suite side and being reported by that, there is a session that's on for that.
One other thing that I find is really helpful is, you know, is the case studies.
Yeah.
Like, and that's it, sale. You know, we always do, I do a three-pronged attack. If someone asks me to come and appraise their property, so I'll prepare a pre-list kit, which will have some sales stats, it will have some marketing materials, always with sold on the sort of things we do. We'll have a copy of the bailiff's listing agreement, which has got our fees in it. I don't necessarily highlight that. Our profiles, quite a bit of info, and either try and get that to them before the meeting or take it to the meeting. And I'll never, I don't know about you guys, but I've really ever give someone an appraisal figure when I've just seen their house.
Yeah.
My theory is I've used all the stats, that's for you to study. I'll come and look at the house, I'll take some notes in the red book, and I'll come back to you with a written appraisal. And they said, you must know what it's worth, right? And I say, well, I could give you a broad range, but I want to give you a range of 10%, and that takes a little bit more effort.
Yeah.
And that makes the thing. But I'll also include some case studies. You know, I used to hate doing these things, but now I love them. So they're pretty short and easy to do, but what I always put on that, I'll just read a couple of vendors committed to a 5-week option campaign with a budget of $9,600, 4 weeks of Saturday Herald Homes, Preview Magazine, Bailey's Premium Digital Web Marketing, Signage and Photography. And under the agent comment it says, 34 days on the market, saw 71 groups visit the property, 6 bidders in the auction room, 1 off the phone, sold under the hammer 50% above CV, very heavy vendors.
So boom at the end of it as well.
Sorry?
Boom at the end of it.
Yeah, but so I'll slip a bunch of those in and make them quite compelling reading. But I've got heaps of them, and I've got ones where previously listed with another agent for a year. We had it, and they wanted to carry on the same path by negotiation. We had it for 6 months, and we said, for Christ's sake, let's take it to auction. So we took it to auction and we had a pre-auction offer in 11 days. I mean, that was just, that's a great case study to show people, you know, oh, I've been listed with another agent that doesn't, you know, there's some others where we listed with a price, the price was wrong, it was on the market for an awfully long time. Took it off in 4 weeks, changed the price, got it right, had an offer in 10 days. So you can use them to your benefit, I think.
And also,
But if I get a hold of those with auctions and and there's the odd buy negotiation that's taken longer to sell, and then they sort of say, well, so I go back to the second meeting with the appraisal. I'm quite firm on that because I don't want to waste my time. So I go back with the appraisal and we'll sit down and talk about it, and then I want to know if we're on the same page. And if we're not on the same page, which is what you're leading to, which is why you end up with some of those situations, I don't actually want to list it. If we're miles apart, why bother? Because it's an awful lot of effort and not getting.
What would you say though in that situation?
Well, I asked them, there's my price range, what do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I reckon it's 300 or 400 grand.
So what would
Why
you
do you
say
think
to
that? So we'll have that discussion.
I think
But at
I've
the
got,
end of the day, I'm not afraid to say, hey, well, I don't think we're on the same page, I'm not going to be the right.
I think I've got some dialogue that you can use in that space as well too. So pre-framing what your issue process was as well too. So, hey, look, you know, I really enjoyed sitting with you guys. Obviously, not a rapport between us. I do have a professional opinion around the value of the property, and I just wanted to share with you that the process that I run through is you can hold that value as your aspirational value, but I will give you these vendor reports throughout the time, and we'll sit down and we'll have some meetings along the way, and I'll give you that feedback and help hopefully shape where the value, where the market value is in that property. And at the end of that, hopefully you're seeing that and agreeance with it and would actually negotiate to it. Is that something you'd be prepared to work with me to do? If they know we've got this dollar value in our mind, then well, thanks for your time. Wish you guys well. But if they are, then you just front-ended the whole conversation around I'm going to be sitting with you and providing my professional opinion around how this process is working for you and what the market is actually telling you around the value of your property as well.
We've had some quite strong conversations. Johnny's pretty good, so even though
Yeah,
she's
she has them
the
between
lady,
guys,
she comes through and
Paul can be the nice guy.
yeah, it's really good with two of you, as you know, because you can bounce off each other. But she'll come through and say, hey, we've got an obligation under the REAA that we have to give a realistic appraisal range. We'd love to get that figure for you, and we'll do everything we can. And if there's someone out there that will pay more, we'll certainly find them. But we can't just put a figure in there to use. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things we do with submissions too, we do them in our boardrooms and up on the screen.
Yeah.
It's really nice because then they're not controlling a bit of paper,
Yeah.
wrapping in it.
Yeah.
We always say we've got it for later, but it is a really good way. And also some people are more analytical or know less about you or whatever, so you can flip through stuff. And I love the idea of the case studies because it also says how much these people have spent on marketing
yeah.
to achieve that price for their home. So it's already pre-preparing them
Yeah.
for what an investment might look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I think it's a really good point. Use the office space. The other thing is, if you got it in a PDF format or you put it into a PowerPoint, run through it on the computer. Obviously, that is you know, a case of making sure people that you're sitting with have got good visual. So if the 75-plus-year-old vendors and trying to get them to look at a computer screen with you, that isn't going to work. But yeah, have to think about that as a process because then you can control the step through of your submission and your appraisal process nicely.
If we get to the stage of doing the full, so after that second appraisal range, some people will, if we're on the same page, I'll come back to them with a marketing plan.
Yeah.
Or it might be at the time that we're coming back with the appraisal, they say just bring us something, so we'll do it all then. It might be a two-step process, but if we've done, like, to do our full submission, it takes quite some hours getting it updated.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spend all that time doing that if you do all that and then you show them the appraisal which is in it and they're miles out, we've wasted 6 hours of our time. So,
yeah, and I think like a lot of people see that front ending of the workload as being a challenge, but the more you can front end, the better conversation you're having and the more detail around those conversations, the more likely they are to achieve a sale as opposed to running on for 6, 9, 12 months for a particular listing and using up time at that end of the spectrum. So it's a good habit to get into, make sure we have those conversations up front and be open and honest around it with the right professional opinion. Very good, folks.